Okay, so a very good evening to everyone present here, and greetings to all of you. Today we'll be discussing about one of the hottest topic, that is artificial intelligence and climate change, and how artificial intelligence can help us tackle climate change. So before we go deeper into this topic, I will give a brief introduction about myself. I am Dhanvi Shah and I am a student at Abu Dhabi Indian School, Al Marur, located in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. And I am a high school senior student, an environmentalist, and aspiring software engineer. And my diverse engagement spans from social services, volunteering, public speaking, and also athletics. I am also a chess player and also a space science enthusiast. And right now, I'm actually currently holding positions as a student council member, and I've undertaken virtual internships and also I've complemented various active volunteering roles such as EEG and Operation Smile, and there are many more to go that I hope I'll be able to do in my future as well. I am also the co-founder of the Green Eco Tech organization, which is basically a non-profit organization that aims to promote the sustainable development goals and disseminate the world's numerous environmental concerns and its solutions. We help and guide you all to recycle materials like paper and plastic. Till now, with our efforts, we have recycled almost 3,000 kgs of paper materials and 50 kgs of plastic with the help of my team. So, this topic, it actually personally means a lot to me, and it's a great opportunity for me that Vidyadan has given me in order to share this knowledge and enthusiasm that I have with all of you. So let's get started. AI in tackling climate change. So today we'll be discussing about what is climate change, the primary causes of climate change effects, AI in tackling climate change, and finally the conclusion. So, we all know what exactly climate change is, but let me just give you a brief introduction about climate change. So, climate change actually describes a change in the conditions such as temperature and rainfall in a region over a long period of time. So, let's say, since it's a long period of time, that's why we're mentioning the word climate. If it was a short period of time, we would mention weather, right? But climate change is something that we have been observing since many decades, and that's why we call it climate change. And the scientists, they have observed the Earth's temperature rises since the past 20 years, and every year we make a new record of having the highest temperature, which is really alarming and something we really need to focus on. So that's why we're addressing climate change now. But why does this climate change happen? What are the primary causes of climate change? That is something we really need to focus on. So, climate change, it mainly, there are two main causes. One is human causes, and then is the natural causes. Both of them equally contribute to the climate change. So, I'll be mentioning a few points on how or what exactly causes the climate change. First, we'll talk about human causes. In that, I've included three topics: global carbon emissions, agriculture, and deforestation. And there are many more actually, but we'll be focusing on the three most important and most significant contributors of climate change. First one is global carbon emissions. So, global carbon emissions are primarily driven by the burning of fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas, which are actually used for energy production or transportation and industrial processes. This release of large amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere traps the heats and also leads to global warming, which internally means that it's leading to climate change, right? So that is one very important aspect. Next, we move on to agriculture. Agriculture also contributes in several ways. First one could be, suppose, methane emission. Livestock such as cows, they produce methane during their digestion, which is definitely not good, but there's nothing we can do about it, right? Next, we have nitrous oxide emission, such as fertilizers and manures. They release nitrous oxide, which is also a greenhouse gas. Next is land use changes. Converting forests and grasslands to agricultural use also releases carbon dioxide, which is stored in plants and soil. Now, the next one is deforestation. Deforestation involves the large scale removal of trees, which reduces the plant's capacity to absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. This process not only increases atmospheric carbon dioxide levels, but also disrupts local climates and ecosystems, which also contributes further to global climate change. So this was about the human causes. Now we move on to the natural causes. Here also, I'm just focusing on two most important points: volcanic activities and tectonic shifts. But yes, there are other also natural causes of climate change. So volcanic activities, volcanic eruptions can influence climate by emitting large quantities of volcanic ash and gases such as sulfur dioxide, which is released into the stratosphere. These particles, they can reflect sunlight away from the earth, leading to temporary cooling. However, they can also contribute to the greenhouse effect in the long term as well, which can be really harmful for us. Next is the tectonic shift. Tectonic shifts, they are the movement of Earth's plates that can impact in climate change over geological timescales. Changes in the position of continents and ocean currents can also alter global climate patterns, which includes distribution of solar energy and the carbon cycle. These shifts are typically slow and also lead to, it might take almost millions of years to happen, but still, it is a significant contributor to climate change. Next, one more point that I want to include is solar irradiance. Solar irradiance is basically referring to the amount of solar energy received by the Earth. Variations in solar activity, such as the sunspots and solar flares, they can lead to changes in the amount of energy that is reaching the Earth's surface. Thus, it also influences climate. However, these changes are usually minor compared to the impact of human activities, but I think it is worth addressing it. So that was about solar irradiance and the primary cause of climate change. Now, okay, now we want now something which is really important, that is climate change effects. Again, here also I'll be splitting it into effects on humans and effects on environment. Climate change has numerous effects on both humans and the environment, ranging from direct impact on ecosystem to indirect effects on human health and socioeconomic systems. So here I'll be mentioning six most notable effects. The first one is increased health risks. Climate change can exacerbate health problems by increasing the frequency and intensity of heat waves, leading to heat-related illness and even death, Additionally, changes in precipitation patterns can affect water quality and lead to an increased incidence of waterborne diseases like cholera, diarrhea, and a lot more. Food insecurity. Food insecurity is basically like the changes in temperature and precipitation patterns, which could potentially disrupt agricultural systems, leading to a decreased crop yield, and again, which leads to food shortages. This can result in a higher food price and increased malnutrition, particularly in vulnerable populations in developing countries. Next is the displacement and migration. Rising sea levels, more frequent extreme weather events, and loss of habitable land due to desertification can force communities to relocate. This displacement can lead to conflicts over resources, exacerbate social tensions, and strain infrastructure in areas receiving climate refugees. Okay, now I'll be focusing on effect on environment, and that three main topics: loss of biodiversity, ocean acidification and coral bleaching, and extreme weather events. Loss of biodiversity. So, climate change poses a significant threat to global biodiversity by altering ecosystems and disrupting natural habitats. Shifts in temperature and precipitation patterns can actually affect the distribution and abundance of species, leading to a change in species composition and potential extinction risks, particularly for specialized and vulnerable species. Now, ocean acidification. So, increased atmospheric carbon dioxide levels not only contributes to global warming, but also leads to ocean acidification. This can actually harm the marine life, including the coral reefs, by impairing the ability of calcifying organisms, or basically, providing calcium to these organisms to build their shells and skeletons. Additionally, rising sea temperatures can trigger coral bleaching events, causing widespread coral mortality, which is definitely not a good impact, right? Next, extreme weather events. Climate change is linked to an increase in the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events, such as we have hurricanes, floods, droughts, wildfires, and there are many more. These events they can result in significant economic losses, destruction of infrastructure, loss of lives, displacement of communities, as we mentioned earlier. So these vulnerable populations, including the low-income communities and those lacking access to adequate resources, are disproportionately affected. So addressing these climate change effects requires a coordinated effort from all the levels, like local level, national level, international levels, to actually mitigate these greenhouse gases. And also improve these conditions, change these conditions, adapt these changing conditions, and build resilience in communities and ecosystem. So now we know about climate change, we know how it is caused, we know what exactly happens in there. Now we need to know how we can prevent climate change. So there are three ways, there are many ways honestly, but these three are the most important, and these three are the ones which could significantly impact on reducing climate change. That is deforestation and afforestation. Plant more trees, plant more, spread the greenery all around. That is one of the most easiest way you can actually impact and reduce the climate change. Second one, sustainable living, which is the sustainable development, the 17 sustainable development goals that was initiated by UNDP. We can implement those, we can help achieve that, we can contribute all the ways we can and live a sustainable life in order to reduce climate change. Next, we have to reduce carbon footprint. This is something which is very, very important because carbon footprint is a major contributor to the climate change. So in order to reduce this, we can do several things. I'll be mentioning four most important and basic things that you could potentially do, like using public transportation than your private transported vehicle. It would be more preferred if we could actually use a public transportation that would reduce carbon footprint. Then reduce electricity usage at home, switch off the lights, and those basic things that we all know, but we don't do them. So it's high time that we start actually implementing them. Use the least polluting vehicle, like bicycle, go walking. Try to reduce the use of vehicles as much as you can. Next, use biodegradable laundry detergents. Most of the detergents that we get are non-biodegradable, and imagine each one person from the community buying a non-biodegradable laundry detergent which we use every single day. How it could potentially impact the the carbon footprints. It's huge. So if we start using the non-biodegradable laundry detergent, it could really, really reduce carbon footprint in a huge amount. These are some basic things that we all can do, but we avoid doing them. But we need to make sure that from now itself, we start reducing carbon footprint. We live a more sustainable life. We afforest, we create more greenery around us. We make sure that we do this in order for the betterment of our society and our environment, right? Okay, now we come back to the most important topic, which is how artificial intelligence can help tackle climate change. So, here I'll be posing a few examples, a few companies who have contributed, and a few agencies that have contributed, few statistical data of how AI can actually impact our society and climate change, which is something really important. I'll be mentioning 9 ways of how artificial intelligence can help reduce climate change. The first one is icebergs are melting. AI knows where and how fast. So, AI has been trained to measure changes in icebergs almost 10,000 times faster than we humans can do it. This will help scientists understand how much meltwater icebergs release into the ocean, which is actually a process accelerating as climate change forms the atmosphere. So the scientists at University of Leeds in the UK see their AI can map large Antarctic icebergs in satellite images in just 1/100th of a second, which is also reported by European Space Agency. For humans, this task would have been so lengthy and time consuming, and it's so hard to identify icebergs amid the white of clouds and sea ice. Just imagine, compare 1/100th of a second to, several days that the humans could actually potentially take to do the same task. So AI can significantly impact on the climate change and by just spotting out the icebergs which are melting around. So that is the first way how AI can contribute. Now, the second one is mapping deforestation using AI. AI can generate these satellite images and ecology expertise, which can also help in mapping the impact of deforestation on climate crisis. Space Intelligence, which is a company based in Edinburgh, Scotland, says it is working in more than 30 countries and has mapped more than 1 million hectares of land from space using satellite data. The company's technology remotely measures metrics such as deforestation rates and how much carbon is stored in a forest. Next one is how AI is helping the communities facing climate risks in Africa. Africa is one of the most prone regions for climate change, and it is very important for us to actually help Africa in any way we can. For example, this one, AI is being used in United Nations project to help communities vulnerable to climate change in Burundi, Chad, and Sudan, which are places in Africa. The IKI project uses AI technology to help predict weather patterns so communities and authorities can better plan how they can adapt to the climate change and mitigate its impact. This includes improving access to clean energy, implementing proper waste management systems, and also encouraging reforestation. These are some of the most important things that a person or a community as a whole should do. And it's a great opportunity that the Africa is being provided with in order to mitigate the climate change impacts. Next is using AI to recycle more waste. So, another AI system which is helping us tackle climate change is by making waste management more efficient. Waste is a really big producer of methane and is responsible for 16% of global greenhouse gas emissions, which is a data according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Parrot, which is a software startup which is based in London, UK, has actually developed an AI system that analyzes waste processing and recycling facilities to help them recover and recycle more waste materials. This is actually a really good thing, it can really impact on the climate change. And the company has tracked almost 32 billion waste items across 67 waste categories in 2022 and says that it identifies 86 tons of material on average that could be recovered but is being sent to landfill. Next is AI in cleaning up the oceans. So in the Netherlands, we will be specifically talking about, and it is there's an environmental agency known as the Ocean Cleanup. They have various technologies to help clear plastic pollution from the ocean. AI that detects objects is helping the organization create detailed maps of ocean litter in remote locations. The ocean waste can then be gathered and removed, which is more efficient than previous cleanup methods using trawlers and aeroplanes. Plastic pollutions, they also contribute by climate change by emitting greenhouse gas emissions and harming nature, which is not good, of course. Next is AI, how it helps us to predict climate disasters. In Sao Paulo, which is a place in Brazil, there is a company called Supremo, and it uses AI to predict where and how the climate disasters will occur and what type of climate disasters they could potentially be. The aim of this company is to help businesses and governments better prepare for climate change and the growing challenges for communities that come with it. There are a few agencies that we know that help us to dissipate or to reduce the climate change, and there are a few that helps us to predict about the climate change potential. And there are a few companies like Supremo, which actually helps the other businesses and governments to prepare themselves for climate change. The company works in industries including insurance, energy, logistics, sports, where they analyze the disaster conditions, factors that such as air quality that can inform decisions on whether to delay or suspend events. Now, the seventh one, a wish list of AI climate tools. Google DeepMind, which is a Google's AI research laboratory, says it is applying AI to actually help tackle climate change in a number of areas. This includes building a complete wish list of dataset that could advance global AI solutions for climate change. Google DeepMind is working on this with Climate Change AI, which is again a non-profit organization set up by volunteers from academia and industry who see a key role for machine learning in combating climate change. This is somewhat similar to what Green Ecotech organization also does. It basically collects all the volunteers and makes sure that the whole environment is assured to combat climate change by also using technology. Here it is machine learning. Other Google AI tools that are also focused on improving weather forecasting and increasing the values of wind energy by better predicting the output from a wind farm. Now, the next one is how AI can actually help industries decarbonize. AI is being used to help countries in the metal and mining, oil and gas sectors to decarbonize their operations. Eugenie.ai is also one of the company which is based in California, United States, has developed an emission tracking platform that combines satellite imagery with data from machines and processes. They analyze the data and help the companies track, trace, and then also help them in reducing the emissions by almost 20 to 30%, which is a huge amount. Industrial sectors generate around 30% of greenhouse gas emissions globally. Imagine 30% is only by the industrial sectors. This is something we need to really concentrate on. If we can potentially help decrease the greenhouse gas emissions in industrial sectors, how hugely it could impact in reducing the climate change. Next, we have the reforesting hills in Brazil using drones. This is going to be the last method of how AI is going to contribute. AI powered computers are pairing up with drones in Brazil to reforest the hills, the coastal city of Rio de Janeiro, reporters. The computers defines the targets and number of seeds to be dropped. The initiative, which was initially launched just this year, January 2024, is a partnership between Rio's City Hall and startup Morphome and aims to grow seeds in hard to reach areas. A single drone can disperse 180 seed capsule per minute, which is 100 times faster than using human hands for traditional reforestation, according to the local government. Compared, let's just have a moment to compare 180 seeds capsules per minute by AI, and what humans could potentially do is like a few around 5 to 10 seeds of capsules per minute. There's a huge significance when we compare how humans could do the same task and how AI does that task. And we know it's 100, several times faster than what we humans could potentially do. And this helps us analyze how AI, artificial intelligence, could actually contribute in tackling climate change. That was about artificial intelligence. Now, this is about sustainability. Sustainability is one of the most important and significant way that could potentially help us in tackling climate change. So we will go through what exactly sustainability is and why do we have to follow sustainability. So sustainability is a word that refers to the practice of meeting our present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So it involves finding a balance between social, economical, and environmental factors to ensure the long term well being of both the planets and its inhabitants. Now we have the pillars of sustainability. There are three main pillars: environmental pillars, sustainability pillars, and social pillars. Okay, so now environmental sustainability. Environmental sustainability basically means to focus on preserving and restoring the natural resources and ecosystems that support life. The second one is social sustainability. It is basically addressing social justice, equity, and the well being of communities, ensuring that every single one, has access to those basic needs and opportunities that we require. Next is the economic sustainability, promoting responsible economic growth and development that minimizes the negative environmental impacts and supports the well being of individuals and societies. Now, we know what sustainability is, we know what is climate change, we know how to dissipate it. Now, we need to do one more most important topic, which is renewable energies, the future of energies. It is a transformative change. So we'll be focusing on that now. Renewable energies, they are the sustainable sources of power which are derived from natural sources, which could be replenished as well, which are renewable, basically. That is sunlight, wind, and water, and we'll be focusing on each one of them in detail. They offer a cleaner alternative to fossil fuels, which also reduces the emission of carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases, and mitigates the climate change. So the first one that we talked about, sunlight. So now we'll be talking about solar energy. Solar energy harnesses the power of the sun through photovoltaic cells or solar thermal systems. It is a rapidly growing sector with a potential to provide vast amounts of clean, sustainable energy to meet global demands. Next is the wind energy. Wind energy utilizes wind turbines to convert kinetic energy from wind into electric power. As one of these fast growing renewable energy sources, it plays a very, very, very crucial role in reducing the reliance on fossil fuels and lowering the carbon emissions. Next is the hydraulic energy. Hydraulic energy or hydroelectric power generates the electricity by using the flow of water to drive turbines. It is a very reliable and efficient renewable energy source, contributing significantly to the global energy mix. Next, we have the geothermal energy. Geothermal energy exploits the Earth's internal heat to produce electricity and provide direct heating. It is a very sustainable and stable energy source, which with a minimal environmental footprint, offering a constant supply of power. Next is the combating climate change. Renewable energies are essential in combating climate change. because it reduces greenhouse gas emissions, it decreases the dependence of fossil fuels, it helps to transition to low carbon economy, it leads to environmental sustainability, energy security. So that these are several reasons why we actually need to combat climate change. Thank you. That's it from my part. What we learned basically from this entire session was what is climate change, how we can help dissipate, how we can, what are the causes of climate change, the human causes, the environmental, natural causes, sustainable living, how we living sustainably can contribute severely to the dissipation of climate change, then how artificial intelligence can significantly help us reduce climate change, the nine several ways, the practical ways of what people have actually done, the ideas, the ideologies that they pass through, the success stories of those agencies. These all things, they just tell us one thing, that we all, as a part of this world, need to collectively contribute for the betterment of our world by combating climate change. I hope you all understood what is the importance of doing this, and I hope you individually take the efforts to do this. I, as a co-founder of Green Eco Tech organization, I want to let you know that if you want to volunteer in any possible way, please reach out to us through the mail that is given here. We would be more than happy to help you out in any way. If there are any doubts, please reach out